Assalamualaikum dear students. Today we have week number 12, lecture number 1. In this week we will study about context-free grammar. Before going to the detail of context-free grammar, how context-free grammar works and how we can implement or how we can see inside the computer context. So we will study about some basic history that how and why we need context-free grammar. So let's start with the some basic history. Context-free grammar. So we have some history about context-free grammar, why we needed context-free grammar. So the earliest computer accepted no instruction from the human being other than the assembly language. Okay. At the earliest time, computer system only understand the assembly language. So the assembly language basically some of the command or instruction are like in English form and some of the instruction or command in machine language 01 form. Like uh, for example, we want to add or load some instruction or feed some formula using the assembly language interpreter. So for that we need some instruction or register. Like for example, we have the load like for example we say in the high level language that is the variable declaration like integer a is equal to 10, so that is the load. Store, how to store such variable inside the memory and hard drive too. And then we have to perform some action, so that action that is the addition. So the add is the uh, assembly language instruction. So we have here mentioned three register actually. Okay, for each instruction there is a back, we have a register which perform that certain action. Okay, so that's why we need the context free grammar. Because of that, assembly language is very tough, it's not very easy for everybody to understand, right? We have another problem in the assembly language, like for example we have the complex mathematical equation or formula, like we have s is equal to and 8 minus 0 whole square plus 7 minus 10 whole square plus 11 minus 10 whole square divided by 2 and whole under root. So such kind of formula or mathematical equation is feeding very difficult inside using the assembler editor, right? So for that we need some easy way to feed such instruction or tell the computer how to solve such complex problem. Okay. We have another example, like we have this equation a is equal to 1 by 2 plus 9 whole divided by 4 plus 8 by 21 plus 5 whole divided by 3 plus 1 by 2. So we have such complex formulas or equation. We need to solve them using some computer help. Okay. At that time, the assembly language was developed, which is the bridge between the high level languages and the machine level languages, right? Some of the instruction coming from the English and some of the instruction used inside the machine language, right? Like for example, we have the RAM and the ROM name, so we can straight away mention in the assembler compiler or interpreter. So that's why it's very hard for us to convert such equation or formulas directly to the assembly language for solution, right? So it is necessary to develop a way of writing such expression in one line of the standard typewriter symbol. So for that we need some built-in function, like nowadays we are using in C++ language, right? In some Python. So we have a built-in libraries. So for that we just call that library and solve that particular problem. So same case as over here, for such problem that we need some built-in function. So that in this way a high level language could be invented. So for that we need high level languages needed to solve such problem. Before the invention of computer, no one could ever have dreamed of writing such complicated formula in parentheses. Okay, So we have to use the basic principle of maths, how we can break such complex equation or formulas using the basic principle of mathematics, right? Like for example, we have the above formula. We have converted in the parentheses using by preceding orders. Like for example, we have a small bracket start, one bracket, two times bracket, 1 by 2 bracket close plus 9. So that is the one of the equation, right? Then we have division. Then we have 4, which is the standard on, plus we have a small bracket for 8 by 21 for this, okay. Then we have plus again 5 divided by 3 plus small bracket start 1 by 2, and then we have closing of the equation. So this is the basic way. If for example we do not have such pattern or built-in formulas or libraries, so we may solve such equation by this way as well, right? So we know how this solution could be used. Keep in mind the basic principle of the maths, right, or mathematics. The high-level language is converted into assembly language code by a program called the compiler. We already know, right? So the high-level languages like the C, C++, Fortran, right? Okay. So it is converted sometime directly or indirectly to the machine language, because sometimes we need a register to involve for such particular calculation or expression. So we need the assembler as well, the assembly language as well, right? So we convert or we take the registers, okay, from the assembly language, and that assembly language then go and do some conversion in the machine language for solution of that problem. But that's why we usually do such activities using editor as a compiler. Compiler that takes the user program as the inputs and print out as the equal program written in the assembly language, okay. Like for example, we use the symbol plus, okay. So that plus we do not have any meaning in the machine language, okay. So machine language will not understand if we convert it using by the compiler into machine language. So betterly we have some built-in intelligence in the C++ and other MATLAB, Python programming. They convert that plus symbol into the uh, ADD assembly language, okay. That assembly language ADD know the meaning or how to deal with such ADD or plus symbol. So they do perform such action on that add, okay. So that's why we need some time assembly language, and then sometime we need the low level mean to say machine language for execution of program, okay. Like we have another example. Sometimes we need to call the VGA graphics for some games, development games, or sometime we need sound to produce from hardware using some coding. So that coding usually will not go directly to the machine, right? It's also possible to go to directly on the machine or on the hardware. So for that we need to keep the specific address, memory address or hardware address. Like for example, we have 0x a, then we have 00x and so on. So that is such kind of address we can use for activating services on hardware directly for such application, okay. So that's also possible, but usually we could not remember such thing, or sometimes some motherboards or some manufacturer hardware, it does not allow you to directly call sound driver or VGA driver. So for that we need to involve the assembly language, okay. So that's why we need some intermediate communication, okay. We have another example mentioned in this slide. Like for example, they have mentioned we use the spoken languages, okay, and we also use some high level languages. So for computer science or for computer compiler, we need certain rules, okay. They do not believe on the spoken languages or languages which is written, but they need a certain grammar. Like for example, how to define or how to declare the variable inside the C plus compiler. Okay, for that we need some grammar rule. Okay, which define the meaning. Okay, or context of the that word, right? So let's see in the next coming slides. It can also be noted that the grammatical rules which involve the meaning of word are called semantics. Okay, so semantics, we are again like we need the context of that word or meaning of that word, right? Based on some grammatical rule or certain condition. And we have another word that is called the syntax. What is syntax? Which does not involve the meaning of such words. Okay, so we have two different terminologies used. Semantics, which has some technical meaning. Okay, that is called the semantics. In the synthetic, which the word which does not have any technical meaning, right? You just say, like for example, a is equal to 10, so that is okay. Like, okay, if that is the synthetic, if I say a is equal to 10 in semantics context, so it will not give me a meaningful formation. Like for example, I'm programming for calculating the pi. Okay, pi. So pi a is not reflecting the meaning of pi in the context of semantics. Okay, so that's why sometimes we need meaningful information under some grammatical rules. Okay, and sometimes we do not know or need or some semantics synthetics. We just need to execute that program. Okay, so usually whenever we doing a programming, so we also keep the meaning and procedure and principles of programming using the semantics as well. Okay, like for example, in English language, it cannot be written. Like for example, the buildings are singing a song. Okay, so that is synthetics. Okay, which doesn't involve any kind of meaning. But if we see in the capacity of semantics, so it's totally useless thing because it doesn't give a context or technical meaning. So okay, that's why. While in computer languages, one number is a good is another. Okay, like for example, we just believe in computer programming. X is equal to b plus 10. X is equal to b plus 999. That is the syntax. Okay. We have some observations or remarks. In general, the rules of computer languages and grammars all are synthetics, not semantic. Okay, we just we just need to solve the particular problem. Okay, that is done by synthetics. Okay, a law of grammar is in reality a suggestion for possible substitution. Okay, so keep in mind. Usually, sometimes we keep the grammar rule and we just convert that thing into a possible substitution. Like for example, I say I need to calculate the percentage of a mark. So sometimes it's some programmer write p, someone write the percent, some use piece in the symbol percentage. So that is the different meaning. Okay, with the three different explanation. So that's why whenever we design rules for computer programming languages, so we need the synthetics a possible certain condition. Okay. Okay. Some we have basic definition. What is grammar and parse or parsing? Grammar, it is the set of rules by which will sentence in the languages are constructed. Okay. For that we need grammar, which we have certain rules. Okay, which can help us to construct a valid sentences, which make us a language. That is called a grammar. Okay, which we have some rules, and that tool can help us to create a sentence for particular language. That is called a grammar. And next we have a parsing. In parsing, we see how to identify and how to create a sentence from a set of rules. Okay, that is called parsing the sentence, or another way, determining how a sentence can be formed or constructed from the rules of grammar is called parsing the sentence. Okay, for example, we have a certain rule for uh, designing of past or present and definite languages. So how we can do such actions. For that we need the certain rule. Like for example, in present indefinite, so we have the it should be with first form of the verb. We have s or es for singular, and we do not have s or es for the plural as well. So that is the parsing actually. Okay. Then we have some basic terminologies, and then we have some elements how to design the context-free grammar. So in terminologies or elements, we have the terminal, non-terminal, production. Okay. So in terminals are the symbols that cannot be replaced by anything or called terminals. Okay. Which some symbol we cannot replace with another symbols. Okay, like we have the input. We know in finite automata, we have a set of input A and B or 0 or 1. So this 0 or 0, 1 or A or B which is not replaceable. So this is called terminals. Non-terminal, which is replaced by another word to construct context-free grammar or the language. Okay, this is called terminal, non-terminal. Okay, then we have production. Grammatical rules are often called production. Okay, when we use certain condition of grammars to construct some language, is called the production. Okay, so for this non-terminal, terminal, and production, we are representing by small letter. Okay, capital letter for non-terminal, and the production, which is the help us to generate some sentences based on grammars. Then we have some elements. What are the basic elements to represent context-free grammar? So we have input of alphabet, input alphabet. Okay. We have certain letters. Okay, called terminal, from which the string are formed. That will be the word of the language. Okay. So that is one of the input. Another, we have a set of symbol called that is non-terminal. One of which is capital S stand for start here. Okay, so we have another rule. Third, we have a finite set of production of the form non-terminal. Okay, so actually this is the production phase to represent a language. So that we have the combination of non-terminal and terminal as well. Okay, so these are basics rule for construct the context-free grammar. Okay, so we have some note on this context-free grammar rules. The terminal are designated by a small letter. Okay, as I said at the beginning, while the non-terminal are presented by a capital letter. There is at least one production that has the non-terminal is at left side. Okay, which is the starting symbol or starting terminal. Okay. Let us, we have some analogy. Analogy mean how it works, how the steps are involved in generation of computer languages in the English as well. Okay, so we have certain rules for English grammar. Okay, so these are very well known. Like for example, how we can identify whether it's we have a subject, we have a verb, we have a noun-verb, we have the adjective. Okay, so we have certain example on that. For example, a sentence can be a subject followed by a predicate. Okay, a subject can be a non-parse. Okay, a non-parse can be adjective followed by a non-parse. A non-parse can be article followed by a non-parse. Actually, these are some examples how we can construct a sentence in English and how we can convert into computer language, use some rules grammar rules, okay, and then we have the compiler will convert such instruction. Okay, so that is the very basic example. Like for example, rule number 7, a noun can be, it could be like for example apple, beer, cat, dog, and so on. Okay, we have another thing like a verb can be like we have follows, gets, eats, hugs, and so on. Okay, so we have that is the example of verb. Adjective, it could be like itchy, jumpy, and so on. An article, it could be like a, the, and so on. Okay, so we have these certain English grammar rules which is we use in the construction of English grammar sentences. Next, the method by which the sentences can be constructed is given below. Okay, so we have in this we have 10 rules. So some of rule or all of the rule have been applied over here in different sentences. Like for example, subject, predicate, noun pause predicate, noun pause verb noun phrase, article noun pause verb noun phrase. Okay, so we have actually here different article, verb, noun, pronouns, okay, phrase, and so on. We have combined, and we say how we can create or generate or produce such sentences. Okay, based on these rules for English. Okay, so this is how we can generate such sentences for English grammar. Okay, like for example, in the last number 16, the itchy bears hug the jumpy dog. Okay, like 15, the itchy bears hugs the jumpy noun. Okay, so we have like what could be the noun in and if it is presented in 15, so in 16 we can replace with some noun element. So okay, so there could be like beer, like we have cat, we have a dog, so that's why. So these are some generic rules. Okay, the sequence of application of the rules that produces the finished string of terminal from the starting symbol is called derivation. Okay, for example, we want to generate some rules, so we have to start with that particular string starting value. The grammatical rules are often called the production. Okay, like here, this one, and this one. Okay, these are the production rules. They all indicate possible substitution. What is substitution over here? Like we have number 15, we have noun, which is replaced by a dog. Okay, and like number 14, we have the adjective noun, so that is replaced with the jumpy. Okay, and so on. So these are the possible substitution. Okay, the idea which is generated for context-free grammar, that is the Noam Chomsky in 1956. Okay, he is a master in English linguistics. Okay, so hopefully you have understand. Thank you so much.